Welcome to the Jay and Brian Show, the fastest growing real estate finance podcast in America. Today's show is brought to you by My City Lender. Here now, Jay and Brian.
Steve, welcome to our podcast. Welcome to the Jay and Brian Show.
Yeah, welcome, Steve.
It's awesome to be here.
Thanks for joining us today.
It's awesome.
All these years we've known Steve, and I found out today that he hasn't. This is like the first time you've been, never mind on our show,
Yeah.
but to our office in a long time.
This office.
You're talking about I believe that Brian is actually talking about the studio. This is the first time that Steve has actually joined us in the studio.
Yes.
in studio. First time in studio.
First time in studio.
Yep.
But he's such a busy appraiser that he, understandly, you probably haven't had time to, come by and see us. I mean,
You haven't had time to ask. I haven't had time to say yes. That's the way it works.
There's that.
No, I haven't actually been in this office. I was in the office over when you were, and I literally I drove around the building and realized you were
elsewhere
right here. Yeah.
Okay.
Awesome. I found you guys.
Well, soon, we'll have some signage, and soon it's going to be a little easier to find us. So
I saw the sign. I was just, I think that I was kind of on autopilit. So but I definitely saw the sign. I saw a beautiful blue truck that has all the markings on it. And it even has a little Jay and Brian show.
Yep.
That's good.
Very nice.
So you found us. You got here okay.
I'm safe.
That's good. You're in studio now.
Yep, I am.
Okay.
Feeling good.
We appreciate you putting pants on today to come join us.
That's awesome.
Well, you said work attire, and as appraisers, we typically work alone.
What is work attire for an appraiser, Steve?
That's a long. No, my wife had suggested that.
Yeah.
But thank you for getting off the appraiser trail and out inside just for long enough to sit down with us.
That's really one of the things I love about being an appraiser is outside, inside. I mean, kind of like you guys. You guys go out. You guys, talk to realtors, stuff like that.
Yep.
I've worked in an office environment, and it was just,
because you came from like corporate America, right?
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah. So,
and we've known each other how long now?
Oh my goodness, it has been. Do you know how we met? Right?
It's like 20 years, right?
I know the story, actually.
Confession. I've watched your podcast.
Okay.
So I watched
we'll take it.
And
it's our one viewer.
Yeah, well,
we found him. He's here.
I actually had my kids and my wife sign up, so you have more subscribing.
Sweet.
Oh,
thanks. Extra now.
Thanks, Steve.
It's everywhere now. Where you ever get
guy.
your podcast.
Yeah. I'm just trying to get you guys monetized. So no.
Thank you. Well, we're actually looking forward to that.
Oh, that would be very cool.
Yeah, we are.
But I was thinking about. So your last podcast was helping families and customer service and that was your focus. And I'm thinking, I met this guy because I bought a car from him. And talk about customer service.
Yeah.
Seriously, I still, it
was like a lifetime ago now.
Oh yeah, but we're friends, and we've been friends for 20 years. And I thought about that too because Rebecca and I have been married for 20 years this September, and we bought it before we were married.
That was crazy. So when was that? 2002 maybe or 3?
No, it was probably 2001. 2000 or 2001.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. And I'm like, I know this guy for 20 years because I bought a car from him.
So before we've known each other so long that we knew each other before we were both in the real estate industry. That's a long time.
Yeah.
That's a long time. Because this is my 19th year in finance in Phoenix.
How long have you been in appraisals?
Since 2006.
Okay.
Yeah. And it was funny because we made the phone calls.
Yeah.
Jay got into the business, gave me a call. Hey, by the way.
What are you doing?
and then
I'm calling everybody I know. What are you doing? I'm doing the same thing.
Yeah, exactly.
I do loans now.
Yeah.
So why? Why did you get into appraising?
What led Steve Gaul into appraisals?
Oh my gosh. How much time do we have?
20 minutes.
20 minutes. Okay. Anyway, okay. Well, honestly, I was going to be a realtor. And so I wanted to get out of the office. I wanted to do a career change. And you're living in an area.
What were you doing?
If
I can ask that. I don't even know if I can ask that.
Oh.
Is he allowed?
I mean, it could be sensitive. It could be sensitive. I don't know.
This is classified. It's been
highly classified.
Declassified last year, so we're good.
Okay.
No, I was actually working for Target Financial, and then I worked for a call center, managed call centers is basically what I did. And it was...
Bow Ring? Was it Bow Ring?
Sounds thrilling.
exactly. You're like, so no, I wanted to do something else, and real estate, in Arizona, booming. It was kind of, we had purchased a house, my wife and I, and then, introduced us to real estate. I wanted to be a realtor. She's like, what about an appraiser? I don't know that I had even heard of an appraiser. I didn't even know, because like everybody else, you're an inspector? No, I'm an appraiser. So when are you coming to inspect my home? No, I'm an appraiser.
Yeah.
Everybody confuses the two. So that
do they still?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Definitely. Okay.
Yeah. I mean, we have to order your appraisal, and then the inspection will take place in about 2 days. Wait, what? The appraisal will take place? No, the inspection.
Yeah. And then
Okay.
I get there and
Two different
But
inspectors.
Wait, we already had the inspection. Wait, what?
Yeah. Am I paying for this?
Both. You're actually going to be paying for both.
Have you looked? I have something over here that you might want to look at on the water heater. I'm like, okay. Let's go over this again. So yeah, that's really the short of it. Is I was going to be a realtor, and my wife just threw it out there, and I'm like, why not?
I'll look into that.
Yeah,
that sounds good.
Perfect timing though. 2006.
Oh,
you guys remember 2006?
Oh yeah, and it was right before all the HVCC hit.
Oh,
and
exactly.
Appraiser independence.
Oh, it was insane. So perfect timing, awesome. And then 2008 hit, as we know.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. And then I worked for Fannie Mae, or contracted, got work from them from the foreclosure side. So it has been. You guys know the deal. It's It's an up and down. It's craziness.
So what's your favorite part about being an appraiser?
In the inside and outside, the ability to make my own schedule. As you guys working for yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Family's super important, as it is to you guys.
Yep.
So
Absolutely.
I make my family time. You know how it is.
That's awesome.
You get up, you work in the morning, and then it's like your kids get up, and it's like, hey, let's go, whatever. Let's go have some breakfast. Let's go do this. Let's go do that. Flexibility, and I like to get outside.
Awesome.
We don't have quite that.
Do you like to drive? I mean, was that like a thing too? Like,
I mean, you have to want to drive.
Love driving.
You got to want to be a driver.
Oh, when I started, I worked the west side exclusively.
Oh,
From the east side.
Yes, exactly.
Wow. Exclusively. West side.
When I was working,
I didn't know that. I thought I knew everything about you. And I'm
Why would you?
There's a few things I hold back, Jay, because otherwise a relationship gets stale.
It's like too close.
Yeah, exactly.
So that sounds intentional. Why?
The individual that I went to work for another appraisal firm, and that was a position they had open. And it was, I want to work for you. I'm going to work for the West Side. And it was great because I live in the East Side, Southeast Valley. I know the Southeast Valley.
Is that when you met Kim Johnson?
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay.
I worked for, he escapes me now, but
Drawing a blank.
McNeil. Dennis McNeil.
Yeah.
McNeil Appraisal. Yeah. Okay. Yep. Awesome guy.
Yeah, I didn't know that until earlier, before Steve got here and Kim mentioned it. I'm like, okay, quickly, I need some stories.
Wait a second.
We need stories. What can we hit him with?
Because immediately I'm giving.
So Steve, Kim tells us there was this one time.
And I'm thinking, only once? It's going to be more than one time. So she was nice.
That's good.
So how does appraising back before the bubble or during the bubble differ than where we are today?
It's really about the inventory. Back then I've thought about that too. It's like, are we in a bubble? Because everyone's, afraid this could be a bubble. Mm-hmm. It's like, it's not a bubble because we don't, supply and demand. So we had a glut of inventory. As you guys remember, everybody was churning. Everybody was selling their home. Everybody was buying a home.
It was crazy.
And the builders went crazy on buying land back in 2006, 2007, and they just had this glut. Now it's different because it is still, there's scarcity out there. It's still bidding wars. It's still over asking price. So the bubble was, you could almost see it coming, and now it's just not. I think it really is the inventory is the difference.
And the question is why is the inventory? That's the $1 million question.
Yeah.
Why is the inventory so low? I mean, we kind of, Jay and I sort of hit on this, I think, a little bit in our last podcast. We were talking about, this confluence of things that are happening in our housing market where people still want to move here for affordability if they're coming from the high cost areas, the coast. Definitely climate. If they're, people still want to come from the Midwest, they want to get out of the cold or anywhere it's cold. Yeah. And then you might have, you have geopolitical reasons that people want to move here now. And so it's sort of the perfect storm. Yeah. And then the older folks in our population still just not wanting to move. They want to hold on to their homes longer, and
they're staying too. You know, I've got folks that come here, they snowbird, and so many more people they know just stay year round. And they're just they're staying here. And then we've got how many businesses moving in to the area?
Oh, a lot.
I mean, it's just constantly growing. So as an appraiser,
and the buildings we were talking about, just industrial buildings going up like crazy out in the east, southeast valley, and
you know, I was just thinking about this earlier. So all of these concrete buildings that are going up, this is totally off topic, but you know what business is making a killing right now? The company that makes those giant steel support beams that hold up the sides of the building while they're putting it together. Holy cow. I mean, there must be 300 of them in one building.
The concrete cast. The concrete cast.
Because everything's poured now. It's not laid. They don't lay block anymore. They
just pour it,
tilt it up, and boom.
Crane operators, they're doing pretty well too.
The crane operators,
So if you can invest in concrete supports, now might be the time. Now might be the time to do that. I don't know who does that.
You know, we'll parlay our podcast success into
all right.
Okay. What should we do next? Brian, I think it's a good idea. We should invest in some steel support companies. Let's do that. Per Steve.
Yeah, you could
a great idea.
Jay and Brian support.
My city supports.
That's right.
My City Steel. Hey, why not?
My City Steel.
My City Steel.
Has a nice ring to it.
Yeah.
Man.
Oh.
See,
I know. We're just rolling there.
I know. We've done a lot already.
Yeah. So what about this new square footage calculation thing?
The ANSI.
Tell us about that.
The ANSI.
Yes, the ANSI.
For
as
homes.
you know, ANSI is a foundation that sets standards. And they originally, from my understanding, they originally did it so everybody's playing in the same field, right? Whether you're producing a product overseas or you're producing a product here, it is what it is. An inch is an inch, whatever it would be, measured the same. Appraisers have never done that. So I'm sure you guys see it. You'll see the same house come, you'll do somebody's refi and then you'll do another refi and you'll have 3 appraisals and the square footage is off.
Different on every one of them, yep.
And I'm sure it's hopefully not a lot, it's within a percent or something. And it's a good thing. And they came across and said that we all have to measure the same way. And it really hasn't changed.
Which means what exactly? I mean, you're still going in there with lasers, right? Or are you?
Well, some guys are. I mean, I tend to use I use a laser all the time. But some guys still use wheels.
Wheels.
Wow.
Crazy. Yeah, they're out there, and I don't know how they do it on the second floor. It's dangerous. No.
Yeah, exactly. Yep. What is that guy doing out there?
Moving a ladder. No. A lot of the hiccup was the stairs situations, how you're taking the stairs out.
Okay.
A lot of builders don't remove the stairs at all. So then the builder reports, it's 3,000 square feet. Then the appraiser comes in and says, oh, no, it's, whatever, 2,900 square feet, or whatever the case would be. But that was a big thing. But
one of the big concerns was that the sellers, and there'd be the gap between what sellers and listing agents believe the square footage is, or maybe, I don't even know if it's, what the county has reported versus what now you're going to be determining.
That was, And I think that, like anything, when you have change, you just can have such a big pushback.
Yeah.
It's change, and all of a sudden we're held to a standard, and that wasn't that big a deal.
Okay.
It was more of,
Yeah, so that was my next question is how much of an effect have you seen in terms of what you're coming up with and what, what the listing is showing versus what the county is showing?
I was always measuring to ANSI standards, so I haven't seen a difference.
Okay.
I was taught that way originally.
So we'd have to basically get an interview with another appraiser. Is basically what Steve is saying.
Probably not one as efficient as
right, exactly. Someone not so good on the measurements, and
really who uses a wheel.
That's right. We need to find a wheel and a appraiser.
So if you're out there and you use a wheel,
you can put an ad in the paper.
Look us up.
Come up.
We could probably ask. Maybe we could go online and ask.
Podcast show seeking wheel using appraiser.
Yeah, you do see it though, and I've been most of the time. What happens in those situations is, you get the kickback. And they're like, hey, the house is X and you said it's 100 square feet smaller, or sometimes it's very tight. It's 20 square feet smaller. Your home, you measured at 20, 20 square feet, as we know, isn't going to make a difference for any appraisal anywhere.
Yeah.
And typically that's what it is. It's a small percentage. When it is larger, what I see, the reason that is the builder will report that they built this model on this particular lot. Well, then you come back and it's not that model. They put another model on it. Or, all the builders have so many options, right? It could be a 3-car garage and they made that into a bonus room, teen room. Then you're going to have those discrepancies.
Okay.
So that's where I see it, but I'm not running into a lot of it. No more than I did.
So last night when we were talking a little bit about the outer lying areas, and we were just kind of talking a little bit before the show. Last night you had mentioned that in going out to even, let's say, like Coolidge, Florence, heading out, further out of town, to find something that was, we're talking about like the affordability aspect of what's going on right now.
Yeah.
And you and I were talking about, like it used to be that we could go out to, Coolidge, Casa Grande, Florence, and find something that was, let's say 250 to 300,000. And tell us a little bit more about what you're seeing on that.
So like we talked about last night, I just finished an appraisal for a Coolidge. It was 1,900 square feet and it was 350, but that contract was written almost a year ago. So
this is a new build?
This is going to blow your mind.
A brand new build. So that particular model that wrote the contract last month, and now they're doing all specs, because again, similar to what we talked about, they're in the low 4s.
Wow.
In Coolidge.
So we're talking about Coolidge, Florence, low 400s for a new build.
Yeah, and I see the larger areas like a Casa Grande might even be higher. Because
it's a little bit closer in.
Well, you've got the infrastructure to support everything, and you've got places to, you have Abbott there.
Work,
a few other,
eat, movie theaters.
Yeah, exactly.
There's a Dillard's, I think, still there, right?
Oh, yeah, there's a mall. They built a mall several years ago. So it is, but it never ceases to amaze me. Like you expect that. You're like, okay, 250, 300, and you look at it, and I'm like, oh, there's no way. There's no way this house is going to appraise. And then you go out there and you're like, wow.
Oh, wait a minute.
Okay, yeah, exactly.
Wow.
And new homes are awesome to appraise now because the contracts are written so long ago.
So they're
so
for sure. It's like for sure to appraise.
There's no risk.
Yeah, none. And I think like we had talked about, the builders are moving to a spec situation because the rates are moving so fast that you wrote the contract 18 months ago at 3.25%, or at least that's what you thought you were getting. Now they're at 5.5%. I wonder how many cancellations they're going to have. So I think that some of the builders are moving to a spec situation where it's selling and closing within a month, and then the buyer knows what they're going to be paying. They know the score.
So what would you think is your percentage of, let's say, new build versus resale right now?
Recently, within the last 2 months, it has moved more of a 70-30. Prior to that, it was just flipped.
70 for new builds.
Currently 70 for new builds, 30 for resales.
Wow.
I would say 2 months ago,
that
it
high.
was just the flip. And I think part of the reason is you have scarcity. You have such a limited number of resale listings.
70% are new build appraisals.
Well, and we keep hearing that they're just not building enough for the demand. We know they're not.
Yeah, they're not. But affordability is the new builds. It's still the new builds, or affordability for the resales, because they're typically Chandler, Gilbert, Mesa.
In town.
Yeah.
That's wild to hear you say that new builds represent better affordability.
Yeah.
Because they're further out and
we were all around in 2006.
And
that's
Chandler's
what it was.
pretty much
That's kind of what it was back then too.
Yeah. I mean, Maricopa in 2004 or 2000. There was no Maricopa in 2000. I mean, it was Harrah's Casino and I think Circle K. And now it's huge.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's crazy. Yeah. And on to more percentages, what do you think is your percentage of purchase business versus refinance business?
And again, the last 3 months, that is just flipped because of the rates.
Totally changed?
Oh, totally changed. I'm still getting a few refis. Purchase to that, probably, I would say 6 months ago, 80-20. And 80% refis, 20% probably 70-30 again.
Okay.
And now that's pretty much been the same.
You don't get refi purpose information, do you?
I don't.
Okay.
So I don't know, if it's a HELOC or if it's,
cash out
or whatever the case would be. Yeah.
Okay.
It's, For whatever reason, people love to share that with me.
I'm trying to do this or that.
Yeah, exactly. And then they, then
you're like, la, 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 la.
Well, it doesn't.
I don't really know.
Yeah.
I don't want to know.
Well, then they ask the questions of, if I put these countertops in versus these countertops, what's that going to affect the appraisal?
Hold on, I'm going to go put it in right now.
Wait a second. I've got it in my garage.
Yeah, exactly.
If I update these light fixtures, will that help me?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I can sound to the ceiling fans.
Wow.
But, everybody wants to know, right? You put in so much money in your home. You want to know what the return is. It's with anything.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Makes sense.
Yeah. So where does it go from here? Do you think it's going to go further out? Like beyond the outer lying areas? You think there's going to be new places like Eloy, Arizona City, heading, for example, southeast, or like if you're going to go way out to like, Tonopah, is it going to start developing these far
Are you seeing it stretch
areas
beyond Casa Grande at this point?
That's a great question. When I worked the west side, it was stretching out to Tonopah back in 2006. There were those houses. Remember you had Buckeye and then Lower Buckeye and then all the way out to Watson, and you had Verado, which is way out there.
Way out there. And now it's not that far.
No, it's really not. I thought it was right before Disneyland, but it's not. It's actually in Arizona. I had no idea. But I've done.
And you were just in Disneyland, right?
I was.
And how was it?
I tell you what, it's different with a 16 and an 18-year-old than it was with a 7 and 8-year-old.
Okay.
The 16 and 18-year-olds are probably just like this the whole time, right?
No, we didn't let them do that.
But nice.
No, it's just the rides that you want, the toad ride, and it was okay to wait 45 minutes. They're like,
no,
45
no,
exactly.
No.
We're going to wait for Star Wars one more time.
There you go.
So it was awesome.
Yeah.
But cool. To answer the question, it's definitely moving out. In the last 6 months, I think I've done 2 or 3 brand new homes in Arizona City. Have you guys ever been to Arizona City?
I've been there.
Been to Arizona.
Yeah, it
was an accident, but I was there. Yep.
That's almost people move there. They show up and they're like,
whoa, where am I? Oh, Arizona City. I thought I was in Eloy.
I
made a wrong turn.
It could be anywhere.
Yeah, anywhere.
It's like on the movie Cars when that couple just shows up. And
that's right.
Where are we? This is Radiator Springs.
Yeah, exactly. It's pretty close to that.
Yeah, pretty much.
But they're building a bunch of
I think there's more there, though.
Okay.
More in Radio Springs than there is in Arizona City.
They have a library.
Okay.
Yeah. No windows.
A windowless library.
Yeah. And they have 2 drive-through liquor stores. I don't know what the ratio there is, why they have 2 liquor stores in a library. Yeah. But no, they're building new homes out there, though.
Okay.
And it's not your typical, it's not D.R. Horton. It's not, they're, Mary Kay or any of these Pulte's. It's not large builders. It's people that are buying lots and building 3 or 4 houses.
Okay.
And they're affordable. They look like first-time home buyer affordability out there still. Mm-hmm. So, it's definitely going to move out. I think the difficulty is those, like when you go to Maricopa, what's between here and Maricopa? Well, you have Gila River Indian community. So you're always going to have this separation where that's never going to fill out, potentially. I don't know what the plan is, but coming from the Midwest, that all struck me like, there's a whole bunch of land here. Why is nobody building
what's going on here?
This is crazy.
This is so desolate and scary.
Someday somebody
people are driving really fast.
And then the casino. And then
boom. There it is.
Yeah,
and a gas station.
Awesome.
Oh my gosh.
So Steve, how is the casino going in at the end of Gilbert Road and Briggs Road there? How is that going to affect our real estate values in your expert opinion?
Is this an honest question?
Actually, that's a good question. I think it's a valid question.
It is a valid question. And I was actually just by it yesterday, coming back from Coolidge. And
just by the casino?
Yeah.
How long were you in there? I'm kidding. I know.
You're still building it. It was actually, it's my second job. But I think it's, unfortunately, I would say negatively. And the reason is in that particular area, you don't have a lot of places in and out. So you've got Gilbert Road. It's on Hunt Highway and Gilbert Road. So if you know Hunt Highway and Gilbert Road, it's 1 lane past Hunt Highway on Gilbert Road. Hunt Highway, I think, is 2 lanes in and out. But now you have a casino going in, and now you're going to have traffic potentially 24 hours a day. right there. And right on the other side of Hunt Highway to the south or the north of Hunt Highway is all residential.
Right.
And I mean, there's not even commercial. There's not a gas station there. There's not, it's all residential. And it's a nice residential area.
Yeah.
I understand why they built it there. You've got Sun Lakes, which is 2-3 miles away.
Retirement community.
Yeah,
after
exactly.
Another.
Yeah. So it's for them, I get it. But I think that in the short term, it's going to not help. I think it's going to be a negative impact. I would call it an externality. It's it's an external obsolescence potentially, because of the increase in traffic, increase in all of that, and it's probably already, because look at how many dump trucks now? How many? What's the
Actually,
noise
quite
level?
A few. Now that you mention it, rolling down the road.
Yeah, and the noise level of all the tools, and I'm sure that some of the people that back hunt are like, stop,
so loud. Yeah.
So, but I think Arizona's awesome in the highways. Like you go to California or you go other places.
You realize how great it is here.
Yeah, and then you come here. So I suspect that
they're going to have to stretch the highway to it somehow, right? It's just so out in the middle of nowhere. Otherwise, I've heard that they're planning to. I don't know from which direction. Yeah, from south of it or.
I would think west off the 10.
Off the 10 there, yeah.
Yeah, but then again, that's another negative effect, because if they're going to be dumping that kind of highway in there, they have a lot of room on, to the south. There's a ton of room. They could build a huge road. Yeah. But then you've got all that traffic noise. And yeah. Personally, I wouldn't want it in my backyard. But, unless I was a gambler, maybe.
Maybe. Maybe not. No, maybe you wouldn't want that so close that you were. I don't know about that. So, Steve, do you have a favorite story from appraising? I'm sure you have lots of stories, but do you have a favorite story that you want to share with everyone?
What's the craziest thing you've come across?
There's been inappropriate things I've come across. I'll save those for off mic. And I've come across the hoarder homes, just that type of thing. Back in the 2008, when everybody's losing, or not everybody, excuse me, when some of the people, unfortunately, were losing their homes. I walked into a home, and you could literally only see 2x4s, and it was a 2-story. And I walk in, and it was almost like the outside was all finished.
They'd open up all the walls?
Yeah. They took the drywall?
What they did is, and there was a bunch of fans in there, so I immediately closed the door thinking, what happened here? So I called the lender, and the lender had indicated that it was somebody that had been foreclosed on, and they took a hose and they filled all the walls with water. And then back then it was taking the lenders up to 3 or 4 months to actually foreclose on that home or actually go take care of it. So they opened up the home, and black mold had just grown all the way up the walls. Man. So when I had walked in, they were probably through the remediation of getting rid of those. So all the cabinets were gone. So
why were you there at that point? That's what
for Fannie Mae.
For Fannie Mae.
So what Fannie Mae was doing is they wanted to know how much the homes were worth, right? And because of situations like that, right? Yeah. They didn't know what was in and what wasn't, what damage was done.
Yeah.
Exactly. So then, we would come in and do an appraisal on the home. And then Fannie Mae really got smart, and they're like, what if we put new carpet and new paint? And so they're like, okay, let's do that, new carpet and new paint. And then they just, continue to increase their prices.
Gotcha.
So, it was a little crazy.
So was that your favorite story?
Well, I have walked into a home.
That didn't sound like it's
no. I thought this was going somewhere else. So I walked into
the home was vacant, and many of the homes you walk in, you have the formal living dining initially, right? And then you walk to the back of the home. And it had a stage and a bar and a seating area, and it was probably not utilized as a home.
Wow.
It might have been utilized as...
so you're saying it might have been like a speakeasy.
A house of ill repute, maybe.
That might have been it.
The house of the rising sun, perhaps?
Exactly.
Holy cow.
Wow. Yeah, and it was in a residential neighborhood, and and I walked in, and you just get like, you kind of look around like, really? Is this what I'm looking at? You're looking for the hidden cameras.
Oh my God. Is this really happening right now?
Yeah. So immediately I call my wife. You'll never believe this.
What I just saw.
You're never going to believe it.
But luckily no one was home. And I have walked in on people too, which is crazy. When I was doing foreclosures, and they would be, it's like, oh, my my buddy or my friend indicated that the home's going to be foreclosed on, I'm just going to hang out until that happens.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. And you'd walk
like
in.
Squatting, squatters' rights, just here. And,
okay.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm just going to go measure over
yeah.
here.
Talk about feeling awkward.
Wow.
Do you mind if I measure somebody else's house while you're living here?
Yeah. Although I guess I don't really need to ask your permission. I'm just going to go ahead and
I'm just going to go ahead and do it.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But it was also sad. You wanted to be sensitive to anybody involved. You just wanted to be sensitive, and because it wasn't a good situation for anybody.
Yeah.
And fortunately, I survived because of the foreclosures. But somebody had to do it, and it needed to be done. But that's the way it works.
So what are your tips? Your best tips for a homeowner? Let's say in a refinance scenario where the appraiser is going to come and appraise their house. Mm-hmm. What are your tips? What are Steve's tips for maximizing the potential? Give us your top 3.
All right. If you're going to put a pool in, do it for yourself. Don't do it as an investment. Enjoy it. Put a pool in and do it for you. So many people ask me, hey, how much is this going to increase the value of my home? And the reality is it's nowhere close to what you're going to pay for it, especially now.
Yeah, the pools are crazy right now.
Yeah, exactly. And it takes forever to build them. And if you're doing it for resale, or even for as appraisers, we look at resales. We don't look at, I don't know, I'm not privy to the information of who refied for what.
Right.
I go off
just
for
what you even paid for it.
Yeah, exactly. And I don't look at, the cost of something and then, look at what it may have depreciated, because for us, it's what the market will bear. Mm-hmm. It's not, depreciated cost. So that doesn't, again, matter. So the other is people ask, what's going to bring the most, and I typically, my answer is always, what costs the most? Because that's
kitchens,
kitchens, bathrooms, exactly.
Countertops.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So it's kitchens and bathrooms. Well, you can spend a ton of money on those. The other bit of advice that I sometimes give people is, years ago, it's better now, but it's what's going to bring up the visual aspects of them. Visually, what is going to help the most? Okay. And so much of it is we're all extremely visual people, and a lot of us don't have a ton of vision. Some guys and girls can walk in and they can dream up all this stuff, but most of us are. It's got new carpet. Wow, it's got new paint. I mean, those are two things that are relatively cheap that really do a ton of good.
Gotcha.
And it's because of the smell. Really, and it's because of the appearance. So I'll often, keep it simple. Refinish your cabinets, put in new carpet, repaint the walls. And the other bit of advice that I might give them is don't make it too personal.
Don't make it too personal. Yeah.
I've walked into homes where, every bedroom is a dark red and a black and a dark green. And you're looking at it going, this is great, but I don't know that everybody would enjoy their entire bedroom to be black.
Well, there's make it yours, and then there's making it yours.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I did. There's one more story that.
Okay. Yeah. Let's do it.
It was awesome. I pulled up to the home. It was right around Christmas time, and they had, the deer that you put out in the front yard and it lit up. Well,
I have one.
Do you? Oh, sweet. Well, you can do this.
Maybe, yeah.
So what they had done is they had hung it from a tree and put red lights in its stomach, and then red lights going down to the ground with red lights on the floor because they were hunters. Oh my God. So it was like a field dressed deer.
Oh my God.
And I walked into the home, and the wife said, "What do you think of my deer in the front yard?"
That was the first thing.
And I said, I think it's, it's different. It's awesome. So
oh my gosh.
I keep trying to convince my wife to do that. And it's been like a dozen years.
That's not happening.
Did you give him an extra 500 on the value right there?
You're like, just for effect. Yeah. Man, you nailed it.
If you keep it up, we past January.
That's a great story.
You get to, as an appraiser, you really get to look inside of people's lives. It's kind of, it's a little bit different. because you're
now we get to
literally-
see a little bit, but it's
when I
just different.
was younger in this business, I used to go to open houses all the time, and so I felt like I was getting a little bit of that, but not anything on the level, because you're going in and out and through the house and all that stuff. But yeah, it's interesting. And in a lot of cases, it's kind of sad what you spot. And
it is, but you come up with great ideas. You know,
you get lots of cool ideas.
Yeah, and you take pictures like, oh, you come home and you show your wife. And
check this out, like colors and finishes.
Black bedroom. Look at
exactly.
that.
It's cool.
This is sweet.
Like,
I'm going to put a stage in the living room.
Do ceilings have to be white? Can't they be black? I mean, like, yeah, it is. It can be sad. Yeah. But it is a it's a responsibility, right? You know, so that's why I don't tell too many stories.
You just bottle it all
Great
up.
stories though.
I have so many. You come home, and I'm sure you guys too. You go home and you talk to your wife, and they're like, "Oh goodness, really? We just move on. Let's have dinner."
So I have one last question for you. People love to say the home is worth what somebody's willing to pay for it. You're an appraiser. What is your response to that?
I used to be a little bit harder on people. I'm a little bit kinder. And my initial response was always, I agree with you. If they're paying cash, if they're paying their own cash, that's exactly what that home is worth to them. The difficulty is now I explain why we have an appraisal. It's collateral. That's what the bank is looking. The bank is looking at this structure as collateral for this amount of money that they're giving you.
Right.
They want to know what the collateral is worth.
They want an unbiased opinion.
And it's what the
and
collateral.
it's opinion.
Yeah,
right.
It really is. And you know, it indicates opinion. And my opinion is going to be different than somebody else's. It's opinion based upon a ton of information. Yeah. You know,
science and data for sure.
Yeah, exactly. And you know, sometimes we're lucky enough to get model matches. You know, and then it's like, yes, well, it's still opinion. Your next door neighbor's home sold, you know, a month ago for this. You know, why is yours worth not that? So, you know, I explain what, and to the bank, it's collateral. Does the bank, you know, it is a structure. It is a piece of collateral. And that's what they're looking at, is what that collateral is worth.
Yep.
Yeah. And that's kind of what I explain to them now. And typically most people are like, I get it now. Yeah. The lender wants to know what, you know, what it's worth because they're putting up the money. Yeah. And sometimes it's difficult to get over that. You know, it really is.
So when it's a wildly overpriced deal, I don't know if you see too many of those, but it's like, you know, when the seller and the agent, you know, gets a little upset about it, and you're having to be like, so here's the thing. Here's how this works. Here's the thing.
And then sometimes you break it down to, what would you pay for the home?
Yeah.
You know, like what, that. Help me I always love help me understand. I used to do that with employees all the time. Help me understand why you think why you think it should be this when I have this set of data.
And you've got good comps and everything else.
Exactly. Or find me something, you know, and I'm sure you guys they kick it back to you guys and, you know, and they give you a comp that's 3 miles away and totally different. And, you know, and it might be in Circle G and you're not in Circle G. Right. And you're like,
or it's the subject is a, builder grade special and the comp is like just fully upgraded top to bottom. And they're like, well, look, this one sold. Yeah, here's the thing. That's not even though it's the same model, it actually isn't really a viable comp because it's got all of this going on.
Yeah, and then you ask, which one would you like to buy? Which one would you like? And then you still have some of them. I wouldn't care. I'm like, okay. This is a lost cause. Let's move on to the next.
We're not getting anywhere here.
Yeah, but it was interesting though with the scarcity the way it was. It kind of turned everything on its head a little bit as far as what value you would give to some of the interior amenities because people were so interested in getting into a home and they would do these bidding wars and the home may have less interior upgrades than something that sold for less. And it was the bidding war and the scarcity that was driving these values. And sometimes it was difficult to equate, okay, what is, partially remodeled home? Is it, is there an adjustment that's needed? Or, it backs to McQueen, is there an adjustment needed for the external obsolescence? you start looking like, wow, sometimes people weren't paying any less for those type of, upgrades or, obsolescence issues because they just wanted to get into that house.
Amazing.
So this kind of leads me to another question, and I definitely don't mean to put you on the spot with this, but being an appraiser,
I have one of these too.
Is this
I'm about to put him on the spot. We might need to put the fan on high for the next one. The next two questions.
I think appraisers. I think they take an unfair amount of heat when an appraisal comes in low. For all the reasons we've talked about. But are you seeing what's the trend right now? Are values coming in below? Are you seeing any values starting to come in below purchase price or the setup refi value, or what are you seeing?
Now we're talking about like Maricopa, Pinal County.
Maricopa, Pinal County,
yeah.
Where were your
That's all I
focus on?
cover, so that's all I can.
Okay. Well, we have listeners all over. So
I've driven through Cochise, but I've never appraised.
Okay.
No.
There's a guy in New York sitting on the edge of the seat right now. Sorry, no, Maricopa County.
Maricopa County.
And everything we've talked about
Our tens of listeners.
Tens of listeners.
I'm not seeing it yet, but I'm seeing it coming. And the reason I say that is because it's more difficult to find the actives pendings that are supporting what it is. Okay. So, and it's really been strange because a few months ago, I would be working on a few and I would see some stabilization. Now I'm not seeing that again. I'm seeing the prices, going, appreciating
Still
again.
Appreciating,
Again.
Well, pretty much on the trend that they were. So I think that we had a little bit of a calming in the market, even though this is not every area. It's not every home sector. Some of the sectors were definitely cooling a little bit. As you can, some of them are on the market for 30 days, 20 days, where it was 6 days, 4 days before. And I'm seeing it increase, over the last several weeks or more. So, difficult question because it is almost changing. It's changing a lot, but it's still certainly on the upward trend.
So typically during a boom time like this, where values are almost they're outpacing inventory, right? So because they're going up and up, isn't that when you can typically see appraisals coming in low because you're looking at a comp that was 2 or 3 months ago?
Yes,
and the home values have already have gone up. That the appraisal comes in low. Have you seen any of that?
Definitely. Yeah. I mean, I would say over half of the appraisal orders I get have an appraisal waiver.
Right.
So they have an appraisal waiver.
Right. So it doesn't even.
Yeah. So you still say it doesn't even matter, but I'm still going to appraise the hose, the house, the hose.
The lender still needs that number.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And what I do is not affected by any of that.
Right.
The house, the value is the value. But some of the waivers will indicate, I'll pay $30,000 over appraised value. I'll pay $20,000 over appraised value. But appraisers track the market. Realtors push the market. That's their job. Get, their sellers and buyers, especially their sellers, the most they can get. As an appraiser, I only know historical data, and I base what the value of this home is based upon similar comparables that have sold. Of course, being sold, that's historical data.
Now locked in.
Yeah, exactly. And, I try to look where the market's going. We definitely make time of sale adjustments. So we're definitely making adjustments if it's warranted, of course. But that becomes difficult sometimes when a home, may have just closed. The contract was written in the last 30 days or last 60 days, and it just closed. And it becomes more difficult. You really need to dig into the market to see what it's doing. But yeah, definitely coming in low. Nobody likes that. You guys don't like it.
No.
So I have a question for you. This is another market hot seat, turn the fan on high question for you. Let's say if we were to see 7,000 to 10,000 listings hit this market, what do you think the impact would be? Because we just saw a couple thousand, right? Just over the course of the last 8 weeks.
So you're talking 5 times as much.
Let's say if we saw another 7,000 to 10,000 homes hit this market, what do you think would happen?
I'm just going to look for my crystal ball.
Okay. All right.
If I brought it in with me.
Pause.
What do you think rates are going to do, Jay?
I heard actually somebody somewhere said that rates would actually be, I'm not going to say.
So you need an answer like this when people ask us, what are rates going to do?
What do you see
Well,
rates
hang on
doing?
a second. Oh, I don't have my crystal ball.
Yeah, exactly.
But if I knew what rates were going to do, I would be a really wealthy futures trader.
Oh, yeah, exactly. I wouldn't be sitting here talking about this right now.
I would be making a lot of money in the market right now.
Yeah, exactly. I think it's a relatively, if you look at supply and demand issue strictly on those bases, now I have so much more supply. So I think the initial effect would be probably not much. The initial effect would be, holy cow, I can buy a home. A lot of people
People come out, right.
Oh, yeah. It'd make a ton of people really, really happy. If that were to continue to have those numbers, of course, it's going to, it's not going to, I don't think, tank the market because we have so many people looking. We have so many people moving to the Valley. I think the last, when you guys, last video you guys made, last podcast you had, it was 300 people a day, moving and just do the numbers. And, that's a lot of people.
There still isn't enough inventory.
No, there's
even if we got 7,000 to 10,000 homes available next month, it still wouldn't be enough.
It wouldn't be enough, but I think that it would, like the market, a lot of it is up here, right?
Yeah.
So the perception of scarcity really makes a lot of people, just go crazy.
Yep.
So if we have a perception of, we got this huge bump, I think that it might calm things down a bit.
Okay.
And that's, I don't know that at all, but just looking at supply and demand. But to your point, I don't think it would be long lasting.
Okay.
Because they're just,
that's good. That's a great answer.
Could we be in a better state though?
No,
for real estate.
Really,
no.
totally agree. All of these massive apartment complexes going up, and it's a tough market especially for young families and people, having affordability and not able to find the right house, and the rental rates are going up, so it's difficult if you're looking for a place to live. But all of these big apartment complexes going up, they're all going to be customers of ours at some point because they're not going to want to rent forever,
right?
And
when they start doing the math, they're going to be like, "Oh, I'm paying this much every month for nothing." Right. I can pay maybe the same, maybe less, maybe a little bit more,
and own my home and paint that wall whatever I want to paint it. And,
the joys of home ownership.
Paint that dark red bedroom.
That's right.
Fix the water, fix the irrigation.
Have that bar in your living room, right there in your living room.
How did you know? How did you know? I got a fresh leak sprung this morning.
Because you're going to have one.
Yeah, you're going to have it all the time.
Yeah, so it couldn't be better. Could not be in a better place.
Yeah,
I agree.
I totally agree.
So we all agree.
That's good.
We all agree on that. All right.
Steve, thank you so much for being with us today. I think we got some great wisdom, some good appraisal tips.
I hope so. I don't.
Some good insight.
Yeah,
we don't have as mortgage guys.
Yeah, we really appreciate you joining us on the show today.
I was thrilled that you guys asked. I was, I was thrilled to come on. Hopefully I didn't disappoint.
Nope.
But you guys are smart guys. Been doing it for a long time. So all the questions you've asked. I mean, you probably had a really good idea of where it was going.
Maybe we need to already have a spinoff. Ask the Appraiser show.
Yes, Ask the Appraiser. I like that
with special guest Steve Gaul.
That's right.
It would be a call-in show. I mean, it'd be awesome.
It's almost like being a politician. I'm sure, like you guys, when they ask the question, "Where are the rates going?"
Well
exactly.
Steve, I don't have an oven or a refrigerator currently in my. Is that a problem for an appraisal?
It's going to FHA, by the way, too. Yes. Can you open your oven, heat your house? I mean, this is an idea.
Can I use that to heat my house?
Yeah.
Do you have running water?
Not efficiently, no.
That's not. You don't have to be efficient. It's. I'm sure you guys get those questions too. Yeah. When you look at the pictures, you're like, oh, you could have told me.
Well, right, all the time.
Why didn't we talk about this?
No.
Why didn't this come up?
Because I'm sure you guys ask, right? Like, is there anything I should know before?
My favorite one is a customer he's doing a cash out refi to fund a remodel, and in all of my effort to determine where he was at in that process, he hadn't started anything. But when the appraiser went over there, the kitchen was blank.
Gutted.
Totally gutted. There were carpets were gone. It was a thing.
And it was FHA?
No, it was a conventional loan.
Kidding.
But still, that was still too much.
I run into that all the time. Bathrooms. People are halfway through their bathrooms, and it will be FHA. And I'm like, I really need the money to finish the bathroom. And I'm like, unfortunately, that's not my decision. I only report what I see, knowing in the back of my head, like,
per the guidelines that tell me I need to report this.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. Can you just leave it out? Yeah, sorry. Unfortunately, pictures do not lie.
Yeah.
Pictures, and I need pictures of everything. Yeah.
We could go on and on.
We really could.
Keep going, but I think at some point we have to let Steve go. He's got a life.
I do. I have a wife and kids.
And a wife and kids. So, Steve, thanks.
Hey,
thank you.
We'll definitely have you on again at some point, I'm sure.
Yeah.